Jin Taemin had one rule that everyone in Seoul's underworld knew. No black women. Not in his clubs. Not at his events. Not in his bed. Not in his life. He didn't explain it. Didn't justify it. It simply was. His organization thought it was preference. His enemies thought it was racism. His family thought it was protection. They were all partially right. 15 years ago, the love of his life, a black American woman named Maya, was murdered by his rivals. They killed her because she was his weakness, because loving her made him vulnerable, because a Korean mafia boss with a black girlfriend was an easy target. So Taemin made his rule, built walls around his heart, swore he'd never put another black woman in that danger. He'd kept that rule for 15 years without wavering, until Amara Davis walked into his fashion show. Stunning. Confident, absolutely breathtaking, and undeniably, obviously black. The moment she stepped onto that runway, every rule Taemin had built shattered. Because some attractions are too powerful to resist. Some women are worth breaking every rule, and some traumas can only be healed by facing exactly what you fear most, even if it might kill you both. Seoul Fashion Week. Present day. Amara Davis had walked hundreds of runways in her 7-year modeling career. Paris, Milan, New York, London, she'd conquered them all. But Seoul Fashion Week had a different energy. Sharp, competitive, absolutely unforgiving of mistakes. "You're closing the Kim Sarah show," her agent Victoria Chen said, adjusting Amara's dress backstage. "This is huge. Kim Sarah doesn't use black models often, and you're closing. That's a statement." "Who's sponsoring?" Amara asked, studying herself in the mirror. The dress was stunning, black silk that moved like water, cut to perfection on her 6-foot frame. Private collector, Jin Taemin. He owns half the luxury market in Seoul. Art, jewelry, fashion. Very exclusive, very powerful, very mysterious. Victoria's smile was knowing. If he likes you, your career in Asia is made. He books models for private events that pay more than most campaigns. Private events? Amara's best friend Sienna appeared beside her, already dressed for her walk. "That sounds sketchy as hell." "It's legitimate. High-end fashion shows for exclusive clientele. Nothing shady." Victoria checked her phone. 5 minutes. "Amara, you're last. Make it memorable." After Victoria left, Sienna turned to Amara with concern. "Did you look up Jin Taemin?" "No. Why?" "Because I did. And girl, he's not just a collector. He's connected. Like, Mafia connected. My photographer friend Marcus said Jin Taemin runs Seoul's luxury black market. Everything from stolen art to conflict diamonds. He's dangerous." "So are half the people who sponsor fashion shows. We're not dating these people. We're just walking in their shows." "Yeah, but Marcus also said Taemin has a rule. He doesn't work with black models. Never books them, never features them, actively avoids them." "So why is he sponsoring a show where you're closing?" Amara frowned. "Maybe he's evolving? Or maybe something else is going on. Just be careful. Watch yourself around him." The show began. Amara waited backstage as model after model walked, the energy building toward the finale. When her cue came, she stepped onto the runway. The lights were blinding, the music pulsing, the audience a blur of faces. But Amara was a professional. She owned that runway, confident stride, perfect posture, the dress flowing around her like she was born wearing it. And then she saw him, front row, center, staring at her with an intensity that made her stumble, just slightly, barely noticeable, but enough that she felt it. Jin Taemin. He was beautiful in a dangerous way. Sharp features, cold eyes, the kind of face that belonged on warning labels. He wore all black, expensive and tailored, radiating power even sitting still. And he was staring at Amara like she was the only person in the room. Not just attraction, something deeper, something almost haunted. She finished her walk, turned, headed backstage. But his gaze followed her the entire way, burning into her back. "You killed it." Sienna grabbed her the moment she was off stage. "That was perfect." "Who was that?" Amara asked. "Front row, center, all black." "That was Jin Taemin." "I told you he'd be here." "Why? Did he say something?" "No. He just looked at me. Really looked. It was intense." "Girl, that man doesn't look at black women, remember? Marcus said it's like a known thing. He actively avoids us. So if he was staring..." Sienna's expression turned worried. "That's either really good or really bad." After the show, Victoria approached Amara with an opportunity. "Jin Taemin wants to meet you, personally. He's hosting a private reception upstairs and specifically requested your presence." "Why me?" "Because you're stunning, and you closed his show perfectly. He wants to discuss potential opportunities." "This is huge, Amara. Girls would kill for this introduction." "What kind of opportunities?" "Private fashion events, exclusive shows, potentially brand ambassadorship for his luxury collection. We're talking 7 figures annually if he likes you." Victoria's eyes gleamed. "Don't overthink this. Just meet him, be charming, see what he's offering." Against her better judgment and Sienna's whispered warnings, Amara agreed. The private reception was in a penthouse suite above the venue. Elegant, expensive, filled with Seoul's elite. And standing by the window, drink in hand, was Jin Taemin. He turned when she entered, and that same intense gaze locked onto her. "Amara Davis," he said, his English perfect but accented. "You were breathtaking tonight." "Thank you, Mr. Jin." "Taemin, please." He gestured to a private seating area away from the crowd. "Will you join me? I'd like to discuss a proposition." Every instinct told her to refuse, but her career brain, the part that understood opportunity, made her follow him. They sat across from each other, the city lights of Seoul spread behind him like a backdrop. "I want to hire you," he said directly. "Exclusive contract for my private events. 12 shows per year, 7-figure compensation, full creative control over your bookings." "That's generous." "You're extraordinary. I'm willing to pay for extraordinary." His eyes never left her face. "But I need to be honest with you, Amara. I don't typically work with black models." The bluntness shocked her. "Excuse me?" "I have a personal rule against it. Have for 15 years. It's not racism, it's protection. For reasons I won't explain, I've avoided working with black women specifically. But tonight, watching you on that runway..." He stopped, something vulnerable flickering in his expression. "I'm considering breaking that rule. For you." "That's the most backhanded compliment I've ever received," Amara said coldly. "You have a rule against black women, but I'm special enough to be the exception. Is that supposed to make me feel honored?" "It's supposed to make you aware of the situation. If you work for me, there will be people in my organization who question it, who resist it. My rule is known. Breaking it is significant." "Then don't break it." Find a non-black model to exploit for your private events. She stood. I'm not interested in being someone's diversity exception or whatever psychological game this is. Wait. He stood too, and for the first time, she saw real emotion in his eyes. This isn't a game. This is me trying to move past trauma that's controlled my life for 15 years. And you? His hand moved toward her face, but stopped. You remind me of someone I loved, someone I lost. And I don't know if that's a sign I should walk away or a sign I need to face what I've been avoiding. Who did you lose? Her name was Maya. She was black, American, beautiful. And she was murdered because she was with me. Because loving me made her a target. His voice was raw. I made my rule to protect women like her. Like you. Because the moment you're associated with me, you're in danger. Then this meeting is over. I don't need protection from danger I'm not in. Amara headed for the door. I'll pay double, triple, whatever you want. Just... He stopped, his control fracturing. Just let me be near you, even if it's dangerous. Even if it breaks every rule I've made. I haven't felt anything in 15 years, and then you walked onto that runway, and I felt everything. She turned back, studying him. This man was dangerous, powerful, clearly damaged, offering her an obscene amount of money to break a rule based on trauma and dead girlfriends. Every rational cell in her body screamed to run. But something in his eyes, that vulnerability, that desperate honesty, made her pause. I'll consider it, she heard herself say. Give me 24 hours to think. Thank you. The relief on his face was palpable. Whatever you decide, Amara. Thank you for not walking away immediately. She left the reception, found Sienna, and they headed back to their hotel in silence. You're going to say yes, aren't you? Sienna said finally. I don't know. Maybe. The money is insane. And you're curious about him, about his trauma, his rule, his dead girlfriend. Girl, this is a mess waiting to happen. Probably, but when has my life ever been simple? Amara smiled slightly. I'm a black woman modeling in an industry that barely wants us. I'm used to complicated. This is just a different kind of complicated. This is dangerous complicated. He literally said, being near him puts you at risk. He also said I make him feel something for the first time in 15 years. That's romantic in movies. Red flag in real life. Sienna gripped her hand. Promise me you'll be careful. Whatever you decide, promise me. I promise. But as Amara lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, she knew she'd already made her decision. She was saying yes to Jin Taemin. Not for the money, not for her career, but because she'd seen something in his eyes that matched something in hers. Two people afraid to be vulnerable. Two people carrying trauma. Two people who shouldn't be together but couldn't seem to stay apart. This was going to be a disaster, and she was walking into it with her eyes wide open. Would you break your own rules for someone who reminded you of everything you lost? Could you trust someone whose attraction to you is tied to trauma? What would you do in Amara's situation? Let me know in the comments. If you're already hooked and can't wait to see how this forbidden attraction unfolds, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you think will happen next. Trust me, this story is about to explore trauma, rules, and breaking every boundary. Now, let's continue. Amara spent the next day researching Jin Taemin. What she found was disturbing and fascinating in equal measure. On the surface, he was a successful art dealer and luxury goods collector, legitimate businesses, high-profile clients, respected in Seoul's elite circles. But dig deeper, and the truth emerged. Jin Taemin controlled Seoul's luxury black market. Stolen art, conflict diamonds, high-end counterfeits so perfect they were undetectable. His syndicate was known for precision, elegance, and absolutely ruthless elimination of competition. But what captured Amara's attention was the mention of Maya. She found it in an old news article from 15 years ago. American student killed in gang violence. The article was brief. Maya Johnson, 21, University of Seoul exchange student, found dead in what authorities called gang retaliation. The article mentioned she'd been dating someone connected to Seoul's underground, but no names were given. Amara dug further and found Maya's social media, frozen in time, a memorial page now, photos of a beautiful black woman with a bright smile, studying art history, posting pictures around Seoul. And in several photos, carefully cropped but still visible, a young man's arm around her. Tattoos on his hand that Amara recognized from Taemin's hands yesterday. Maya looked like her. Not identical, but the resemblance was undeniable. Same deep brown skin, same bone structure, same height and build. No wonder Taemin had stared. "You're really doing this," Sienna said, watching Amara get ready for her meeting with Taemin. Taking his offer. The money is life-changing, and the exposure in the Asian market could make my career. And the fact that you look like his dead girlfriend, that doesn't concern you. It concerns me deeply. But Sienna, you didn't see his eyes. He's not trying to replace her. He's trying to move past trauma that's been controlling him for 15 years. I can't fault someone for that. You absolutely can fault someone for making weird racial rules based on trauma, which he's breaking. For me, that takes courage. Amara applied lipstick, studying herself in the mirror. I know this is complicated, but my entire life is complicated. At least this complication pays well. The meeting was at Taemin's private gallery, an exclusive space in Gangnam that housed his personal collection. When Amara arrived, she was escorted through rooms filled with priceless art, each piece more stunning than the last. Taemin waited in the main gallery, studying a painting. "Amara, thank you for coming." He turned, and she saw he'd dressed casually. Black pants, black sweater, but still expensive, still elegant. "Did you make a decision?" "I have questions first." "Fair. Ask anything." "Why do I look like Maya?" The directness made him flinch. "You researched her." "Of course I did. You told me I reminded you of someone. I wanted to know who." Amara moved closer. "We look similar. Not identical, but close enough that seeing me must have been shocking. So answer honestly. Are you attracted to me or to her memory?" "Both, at first." His honesty was brutal. "When you walked onto that runway, for a moment I thought I was seeing a ghost. The resemblance is striking, but then you moved, and you were completely yourself. Your confidence, your energy, that's all you, not her. But the attraction is still tied to her, to your trauma. Initially, yes. But Amara, I've spent 15 years avoiding black women specifically to avoid this feeling. The moment I saw you, that avoidance crumbled. That's not about Maya. That's about you being so compelling, I can't maintain my own rules. Rules that are inherently problematic. You've been avoiding an entire demographic because of one tragedy. I've been protecting an entire demographic from the danger of being associated with me, he corrected. Maya died because she loved me, because rivals used her to hurt me. I couldn't, his voice broke. I couldn't risk that happening again, so I eliminated the possibility entirely. That's not protection. That's control born from trauma. Amara studied him carefully. Taemin, I'm not a therapist, but you need one. This level of avoidance isn't healthy. I know. My cousin Junho has been telling me the same thing for years, but therapy requires admitting vulnerability, and in my world, vulnerability is death. Then your world is toxic. It absolutely is, which is why I'm trying to change, starting with you. He pulled out a contract, exclusive modeling contract, 12 shows annually, paid 7 figures, you maintain full control over your other bookings. The shows are legitimate fashion events, exclusive, private, but legal. No drugs, no trafficking, nothing that would compromise your ethics or safety. And the danger you mentioned? The reason Maya died? I'm prepared for it now. I wasn't at 19. Now I have resources, security, ways to protect people I care about. If you work for me, you'll have a full security detail. Not visible, not invasive, but present. That sounds like a prison. It's protection. There's a difference. He moved closer, his intensity overwhelming. Amara, I'm not going to lie and say this is risk-free. Being associated with me puts you on the radar of my enemies. But I'm willing to take that risk because for the first time in 15 years, I want something beyond survival. I want to feel alive again, and you make me feel alive. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone you've met once. I know, and if it's too much, say no. Walk away. I'll respect that decision and make sure you're compensated for your time. Amara looked at the contract, at him, at the gallery filled with beautiful stolen things. Everything about this screamed danger and complication. I'll do it, she said, but with conditions. Name them. First, therapy. You see a professional about your trauma. I'm not your emotional support model. You need actual help. Agreed. What else? Second, if at any point this becomes about Maya and not me, I walk. I won't be someone's replacement or emotional proxy. That's fair. And third? Third, we keep this professional. No relationship beyond business. You're attracted to me. I'm curious about you. But mixing business and pleasure when there's already this much trauma is a disaster waiting to happen. Something flickered in his eyes. Disappointment, maybe, or relief. Agreed. Strictly professional, though I'm allowed to find you beautiful while maintaining professional boundaries. You can think whatever you want, just don't act on it. She took the contract. I'll have my lawyer review this and get back to you within 48 hours. Thank you, Amara, for taking a chance on me. I'm taking a chance on a paycheck. You're incidental. The lie was smooth, practiced, but his slight smile said he didn't believe it. Of course, strictly business. That evening, Amara met with Sienna and her photographer friend Marcus at a restaurant in Hongdae. Marcus was handsome, Black American, late 30s, with an easy smile that felt slightly forced. So you're really working for Jin Taemin, he said. Bold move. It's a modeling contract, not a marriage proposal. Still, Taemin's dangerous, and his rule about Black women, that's been solid for years. You breaking it is going to cause waves. Why does everyone keep saying that like it's my problem? He made a weird rule. He's choosing to break it. That's on him. Except when his enemies realize his weakness is back. Black women, specifically, they'll use it against him, which means using it against you. Marcus leaned forward. Amara, I've covered Seoul's underworld for years as a photographer. I've seen what happens to people who get too close to men like Taemin. It doesn't end well. He's providing security. Security doesn't stop bullets, doesn't stop bombs, doesn't stop rivals who want to prove a point by taking out his pretty black model girlfriend. I'm not his girlfriend. I'm his employee. You think his enemies will see the distinction? Marcus's expression turned serious. Look, I like you. You seem smart, grounded. So I'm warning you as a friend, get out of this contract before it's too late, before you become Maya 2.0. The mention of Maya made Amara's spine stiffen. I can take care of myself. That's what Maya thought too. Then they found her body in the Han River with 3 bullets in her chest. The brutality of that image hit Amara like a punch. That won't happen to me. How do you know? Because Taemin was 19 then. He's 34 now. He's had 15 years to build power, resources, protection. He's not the same man who couldn't save her. No, he's the man who built his entire life around avoiding black women specifically, so he'd never be in that position again. And you're asking him to break that, to face his worst fear. That's not romantic, Amara. That's selfish. Selfish, anger flared. He asked me. He offered me the contract. He's the one breaking his own rules. Because he's attracted to you. Because you look like Maya and trigger every traumatic memory he has. But that doesn't mean it's good for either of you. Sienna had been quiet, but now she spoke up. Marcus, you're being harsh. I'm being realistic. Amara deserves to know what she's walking into. He pulled out his phone, showing old news articles about Maya's death. They tortured her before they killed her, made her call Taemin, beg him to save her. He heard her die over the phone. That's the trauma you're asking him to revisit. Amara felt sick. He didn't tell me that part. He wouldn't. It's too painful. Marcus put his phone away. Look, I'm not trying to control your choices. I'm just asking, is the money worth potentially reliving someone else's nightmare? Is your career worth your life? I signed a contract. Well, I'm signing one. I can't back out now. You absolutely can. Taemin would let you. He's many things, but he's not a monster. If you tell him you changed your mind, he'll release you. Amara sat with that. She could walk away, take the safe route, avoid the complications, the danger, the trauma. But something in her refused. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the look in Taemin's eyes when he'd said she made him feel alive. I'm doing it, she said firmly, with full awareness of the risks. But I'm not backing down because his past is complicated. Everyone's past is complicated. Marcus sighed. Then at least promise me you'll be careful. Watch your surroundings. Don't trust anyone in his organization. And if things get dangerous, run. Don't be a hero. I promise. But as they left the restaurant, Amara noticed something. Marcus watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Not concern. Something colder. More calculating. Like he knew something he wasn't telling her. And for the first time, she wondered, was Marcus really trying to protect her? Or was he trying to scare her away for reasons that had nothing to do with friendship? 3 days later, Amara signed the contract and officially became Jin Taemin's exclusive model. The announcement made waves in Seoul's fashion circles. Speculation ran wild. Why would Jin Taemin, known for avoiding black models, suddenly hire one exclusively? What had changed? Taemin's response to the press was simple. Amara Davis is the best. I hire the best. But behind closed doors, his organization was less accepting. Amara discovered this at her first private show, an exclusive event in a luxury hotel, showcasing Taemin's fashion collection to elite buyers. When she arrived, the other models were polite but distant. The stylists were professional but cold. And when Taemin's business partner Yuki arrived, the hostility became overt. Yuki was stunning, Japanese, elegant, with sharp features and sharper eyes. She looked at Amara like she was an insect. "So you're the one who broke his rule," Yuki said in perfect English. "Impressive. Most women don't even get close enough to try." "I didn't break anything. He offered me a contract." "Because you look like Maya. Don't fool yourself into thinking you're special. You're just a ghost he's trying to exorcise." Yuki's smile was poisonous. Taemin has a pattern. He meets black women, feels guilty about his rule, considers breaking it, then realizes the risk isn't worth it and cuts them loose. You'll be gone in 3 months. Maybe less if you're unlucky. If you're trying to intimidate me, I'm trying to save you. Taemin doesn't love, he obsesses. He obsessed over Maya, and it got her killed. If he starts obsessing over you, history will repeat. Is that really what you want? Before Amara could respond, Taemin appeared, his expression darkening when he saw them together. "Yuki, I thought you were handling the buyer list." "I am. Just introducing myself to your new model." Yuki's smile didn't reach her eyes. "She's lovely, very similar to Maya. I'm sure that's purely coincidental." "That's enough." Taemin's voice was cold. "Amara, come with me. We need to go over the show lineup." He led her away, his hand lightly on her back, and she felt the tension radiating from him. "I apologize for Yuki. She's protective. She's territorial. There's a difference." Amara stopped, turning to face him. "Taemin, is she right? Am I just a ghost you're trying to exorcise?" "No, you're—" He struggled for words. "You're someone who makes me want to stop living in the past, want to face what I've been avoiding. That's not about Maya. That's about you." "But I look like her. You can't separate that." "I'm learning to, with help." He pulled out his phone, showing her a therapist's contact information. "I made my first appointment. Tomorrow. You were right. I need professional help, not just good intentions." The gesture surprised her. "You're really doing it." "I promised you I would. I keep my promises, Amara." His eyes met hers, vulnerable and honest. "I know this situation is complicated. I know you're taking a risk being here, but I'm committed to making this work. Professionally and personally, in terms of facing my trauma. You deserve that effort." She wanted to stay guarded, wanted to maintain the professional distance she'd insisted on. But his sincerity was disarming. "Okay, then let's make this work. But Taemin, if Yuki or anyone else in your organization makes me feel unsafe or unwelcome, I'm gone. I don't care about the contract or the money. My safety and dignity come first." "Agreed. And I'll speak to Yuki. Her behavior was unacceptable." The show went smoothly after that, but Amara felt eyes on her all night. Yuki's hostile stare, the curious glances from other staff, the weight of being the woman who broke Jin Taemin's most famous rule. She was in the spotlight now, for better or worse. And she had no idea that several people in that room, Yuki, Victoria Chen, even Marcus, were already planning how to use her presence for their own purposes. Because breaking Taemin's rule didn't just affect him and Amara. It shifted the entire balance of power in Seoul's underworld. And that made her the most valuable and most endangered person in the city, whether she knew it yet or not. 2 weeks into her contract, Amara's life had transformed into a strange new normal. She modeled at Taemin's exclusive events, 3 shows so far, each more luxurious and bizarre than the last. The audiences were elite buyers, collectors, people with money that didn't ask questions. The fashion was stunning, but the undercurrent was always present. She was different. She was black. She was the one who'd broken the rule. Some people stared with curiosity, others with hostility, a few with something that looked like pity. But Taemin was changing too. He'd started therapy, and Amara could see the difference. He was more present, less haunted. He still looked at her with intensity, but it was clearer now. Less about the past, more about the present. They'd maintained professional boundaries, but barely. The attraction between them was magnetic, undeniable. Every interaction charged with something neither was acting on. "You're playing with fire," Sienna warned, after Amara admitted she was attracted to him. Professional boundaries don't mean anything when you're both feeling it. We're adults. We can control ourselves. Can you? Because the way you talk about him, that's not employee talking about employer. That's woman talking about man she's falling for. I'm not falling for him. I'm just interested in his story, his healing, his face, his money, his dangerous mafia boss energy. Sienna laughed. "Girl, you're falling, and when you land, it's going to hurt." The prophecy came true faster than either expected. It happened after a show in Gangnam. Amara was leaving through the back entrance when 3 men appeared. Not Taemin's security. Different. Dangerous. "Amara Davis?" one asked in accented English. "Who's asking?" "Someone who wants to send a message to Jin Taemin." He smiled, and it was predatory. "You look just like her. Just like Maya. Did he tell you what happened to her?" Ice flooded Amara's veins. "I'm leaving. We're not done talking." One grabbed her arm, and she realized with horror, these were the men who'd killed Maya, or men like them. Same organization, same threat. She tried to scream, but a hand clamped over her mouth. They were dragging her toward a van when gunshots rang out. Taemin's security appeared, his cousin Junho leading the charge, firing with precision. The men scattered, one falling, the others retreating into the night. Junho rushed to Amara. "Are you hurt?" "No, What just happened?" "Rival syndicate. They knew you'd be here. Knew you're important to Taemin." His expression was grim. This is what he feared. What he's been trying to prevent for 15 years. And now it's happening again. Taemin arrived moments later, his face white with terror. "Amara, God, are you okay?" "I'm fine. Shaken, but fine." He pulled her into his arms, breaking every professional boundary, not caring. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault. I shouldn't have. I knew this would happen." Taemin breathed. "I'm okay. Your security stopped them. This time. What about next time? What if they get to you when I'm not prepared? He pulled back, gripping her shoulders. I can't do this again. Can't watch another woman die because of me. Then don't. Send her home. Yuki had arrived, her expression cold satisfaction. This proves your rule existed for a reason. End the contract. Send her back to America, where she's safe. No. Taemin's voice was steel. I'm not running from this. Not again. Then you're going to get her killed, just like Maya. Shut up. The command was vicious. You don't speak about Maya. You didn't know her, didn't love her. Don't get to use her death as a weapon. I'm using reality as a weapon. You hired a black model specifically to break your rule, and now rivals are targeting her exactly like they targeted Maya. This isn't complicated. This is history repeating. Then I'll rewrite history. Taemin turned back to Amara. I'm moving you to my private residence, full security, around-the-clock protection. You won't be vulnerable like this again. Taemin, I can't move in with you. It's not romantic. It's practical. My home is a fortress. Security, guards, surveillance. You'll be safe there. Or trapped. There's a difference. But Amara was shaking, the adrenaline crash hitting her. Who were those men? What did they want? To send a message that my vulnerability is back, that they can hurt me by hurting you. His jaw clenched. The organization that killed Maya, they've been dormant for years. Absorbed by larger syndicates, leadership changed, but some of the old guard remain. And they remember that breaking me was as simple as killing the woman I loved. So this is about revenge, finishing what they started. This is about power, proving that Jin Taemin still has weaknesses despite 15 years of building walls. Junho spoke quietly. Amara, my cousin is right. You're not safe in a hotel or public spaces. You need protection we can control. Or I need to end the contract and go home like Yuki suggested. Is that what you want? Taemin's eyes held hers. To run? To let them win by making you afraid. I want to not die for a modeling contract. This isn't about the contract anymore. It's about you. About us. About refusing to let trauma and violence dictate our lives. His intensity was overwhelming. Amara, I know this is asking too much. I know you didn't sign up for this danger. But please, trust me to protect you. Let me do what I couldn't do 15 years ago. She should have said no. Should have booked a flight back to New York immediately. Should have chosen safety over this complicated, dangerous man. Instead, she heard herself say, "Okay, I'll move to your house, temporarily, until this threat is handled. Thank you." The relief on his face was profound. I promise, you'll be safe, whatever it takes. But as they drove to his estate, a massive compound in the hills outside Seoul, Amara couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just made a terrible mistake. Because moving into Taemin's home meant crossing a line, meant becoming more than employee, meant stepping fully into the danger that had killed Maya. And she had no idea if Taemin could actually protect her, or if she was walking into her own death, just like the woman she resembled. Taemin's estate was stunning and intimidating. High walls, security gates, guards at every entrance. The house itself was modern luxury, all glass and steel and expensive minimalism. Her room was a suite larger than her New York apartment, with a view of Seoul in the distance. You'll have privacy, Taemin said, showing her around. Your own space, your own schedule. But security will be present, discreetly. You won't see them, but they're there. This feels like witness protection. It's protection, period. Until we neutralize the threat. He hesitated at her doorway. Amara, I need you to understand something. What happened tonight? That was my worst fear coming true. Seeing you in danger, knowing it's because of me. It's not because of you. It's because of violent people making violent choices. You didn't kidnap me, they did. But I put you in the position to be targeted by hiring you, by breaking my rule, by being selfish enough to want you in my life despite knowing the risks. Stop. She moved closer. You gave me a choice. I took the contract knowing your history, knowing there was danger. I'm not a victim. I'm a woman making informed decisions, even if those decisions are complicated. You're extraordinary, he said quietly. Brave in ways I'm not. You're facing 15 years of trauma. That's brave. Or stupid. The therapist hasn't decided which yet. His slight smile faded. I need to tell you something. About Maya. About how she died. Marcus told me some of it. That they tortured her. Made her call you. He told you the sanitized version. The reality was worse. Taemin's voice dropped. They kept her alive for 3 days. Called me every day. Let me hear her suffering. Offered to release her if I'd give up territory, power, everything I'd built. I refused. Thought I could find her, rescue her, win through force. But you couldn't. By the time we found their location, she was already dead. They'd killed her that morning. Left her body where I'd find it. With a note. This is what happens to Korean boys who play with black dolls. His hands clenched into fists. The racism, the violence, the message, it destroyed me. Made me hate myself for loving her, for putting her in that position. That's why you made the rule, to never feel that guilt again, to never put another black woman in that danger. I convinced myself it was protection. Really, it was cowardice. I was afraid to love again, afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to face the fact that my world is violent and people I love get hurt. And now, are you still afraid? Terrified. But I'm also tired of living in fear, tired of letting trauma control my choices. You walking into my show, that was the universe giving me a chance to choose differently. He met her eyes. I'm choosing to protect you properly this time, to use the power I've built, to not let history repeat. What if it does anyway? What if protecting me isn't enough? Then at least I tried. At least I didn't run. He moved closer, and the air between them crackled. Amara, I know we said professional boundaries, but I need you to know this isn't just about guilt or replacing Maya. You're in my home, in my protection, because I care about you. You specifically, not your resemblance to her. You, Taemin, I'm not asking for anything, just telling you the truth. So you understand why I'm willing to go to war to keep you safe. She should have stepped back, should have reinforced those professional boundaries, should have reminded him this was temporary, transactional, not emotional. Instead, she closed the distance between them, her hand on his chest. I care about you too, even though I shouldn't, even though it's complicated and dangerous and probably stupid. I care. His hand covered hers, and the warmth between them was undeniable. Then we're both stupid together. Apparently. They stood there, close enough to kiss, balanced on the edge of a decision neither was quite ready to make. Then Junho's voice came through Taemin's earpiece. "Sir, we have a situation." The rivals left a message at the compound gates. The moment shattered, Taemin stepped back, his expression hardening. What kind of message? Photo of Maya's grave, with Amara's modeling headshot placed on top. Message says, "History repeats. Will you let another one die?" Amara felt sick. They're trying to terrorize us. They're trying to make me break, make me send you away out of fear. Taemin's voice turned lethal. But they've miscalculated. I'm not the 19-year-old who couldn't protect what he loved. I'm the man who built an empire specifically to have the power to destroy anyone who threatens me. He turned to Amara, and she saw it. The ruthless Mafia boss, not the vulnerable man working through trauma. Both were him. Both were real. Stay in the house. Don't leave the grounds. Trust no one except Junho and my personal security. He headed for the door. This ends now. I'm done being afraid. What are you going to do? What I should have done 15 years ago. His smile was cold. Hunt them before they hunt you. After he left, Amara stood in her luxury prison and realized she wasn't just caught up in Taemin's world anymore. She was the catalyst for a war that had been brewing for 15 years. And whether she survived it depended on whether Jin Taemin had truly become the protector he promised, or whether he was still the broken boy who'd lost everything once before. Living in Taemin's compound was surreal. Amara had everything she needed: luxury, comfort, even a private studio where she could practice her runway walk. But she was also trapped. Guards at every entrance, surveillance everywhere. The golden cage was still a cage, and Taemin was different. Colder, more focused. The vulnerable man who'd confessed his feelings had been replaced by the ruthless Mafia boss, hunting his enemies. "He's been like this for 3 days," Junho told Amara one morning. "Hasn't slept, barely eats, just strategizes, interrogates informants, plans his counterattack. Is he okay?" "He's determined," which in Taemin's case means dangerous to everyone, including himself. Junho studied her carefully. "You've gotten under his skin. He hasn't cared about protecting someone like this since Maya. That's good and terrifying in equal measure." "Why terrifying?" "Because when Taemin cares, he becomes reckless. Maya's death nearly destroyed him. If something happens to you..." Junho didn't finish the sentence, didn't need to. That evening, Taemin finally emerged from his office, looking exhausted but triumphant. "I found them, the men who tried to take you, the organization backing them." He poured himself a drink, his hands shaking slightly. "Tomorrow, we end this." "How?" "Strategically, precisely, permanently." His eyes met hers. "I'm eliminating the threat. All of it. The old guard from Maya's murder, the new players trying to use you against me. Everyone who thinks targeting black women in my life is acceptable." "Taemin, that sounds like..." "War. It is. But it's a war I should have fought 15 years ago, instead of hiding behind rules and avoidance." He moved closer. "I'm not asking your permission, but I wanted you to know, by tomorrow night, you'll be safe. Truly safe. No more threats, no more fear. And how many people will die for that safety? As many as necessary. No hesitation, no guilt." This was the Mafia boss, not the man. "Does that bother you?" "Yes. And no. I don't want people dead because of me. but I also don't want to be terrorized or killed. She struggled with the moral complexity. I'm not naive enough to think your world operates on peaceful principles. But Taemin, don't lose yourself in revenge. Don't become the monster they say you are. I already am that monster. I've just been hiding it from you. His brutal honesty was jarring. Amara, I'm not a good man. I've killed, extorted, destroyed lives to build my empire. The only difference between me and the people threatening you is that I have a code, rules I follow. And one of those rules is protect what's mine. I'm not yours. You're under my protection. That makes you mine in every way that matters in this world. He cupped her face gently, the contrast between his words and touch profound. I know this isn't what you signed up for, but it's the reality. You're in my world now, and in my world, I'm the monster who keeps you safe from other monsters. That's honest. Maybe the most honest I've been. He dropped his hand. Tomorrow, stay in the house. No matter what you hear, what you see on the news, don't leave this compound. Junho will be here with you. Trust him if something happens to me. If something happens to you? Taemin, what exactly are you planning? To make an example. To show everyone in Seoul's underworld that targeting you was the worst mistake they could make. His smile was cold. They wanted to recreate history. Instead, I'm rewriting it. The next day was tense. Taemin left at dawn with most of his men. Junho stayed behind with a skeleton security crew, all of them armed and alert. Amara tried to distract herself, work emails, video calls with Sienna, anything to avoid thinking about what Taemin was doing. But every hour that passed increased her anxiety. He'll be fine, Junho assured her. Taemin's been planning this for days. He knows what he's doing. Do you know what he's doing, specifically? Attacking 3 locations simultaneously, taking out leadership of the organization that threatened you, sending a message that his protection is absolute. Junho hesitated. It's brutal, effective. But brutal. People will die. People who tried to kill you. People who killed Maya. People who think violence against women is acceptable strategy. Junho's expression was hard. I know you're struggling with the morality, but in this world, mercy is weakness. Taemin learned that lesson the hardest way possible. He won't make the same mistake twice. Around 3 p.m., news broke. Multiple gang-related incidents across Seoul. Warehouses burning, reports of shootouts, casualties. Amara watched the news with growing horror. This is because of me. This is because of them, Junho corrected. They started this by targeting you. Taemin's finishing it. At 6 p.m., Taemin returned, unharmed, but covered in other people's blood. Amara met him in the entrance, her stomach churning at the sight. It's done, he said flatly. The threat is eliminated. You're safe. Are you okay? Physically, yes. Emotionally. He laughed bitterly. I just killed 11 people, ordered the deaths of 7 more, burned down 2 warehouses and a nightclub. I'm many things, but okay isn't one of them. Taemin, I need to shower. Clean this off. He looked at his hands like he didn't recognize them. We'll talk after. He disappeared upstairs, and Amara stood in the foyer, processing. This was who Jin Taemin really was. Not just the damaged man seeking healing. The killer. The monster. The ruthless boss who eliminated threats without hesitation. Could she reconcile those 2 versions of him? Could she care about someone capable of such violence? An hour later, she found him on the balcony, cleaned up but still looking haunted. I'm sorry you saw me like that, he said, covered in evidence of what I am. Who you are, she corrected, sitting beside him. What you are is human, complicated, capable of violence and tenderness. I can't pretend the violence doesn't exist, but I also can't ignore the man who goes to therapy and tries to heal. You should be horrified, running from me. I probably should be, but I'm still here. She took his hand. Taemin, I'm not naive. I knew what you were when I took this contract. Today just made it real instead of abstract. And you can live with that? With what I've done? I'm still figuring that out. But I know I can't judge you from my safe civilian perspective when you're operating in a world I don't understand. She met his eyes. Did those people deserve to die? They killed Maya, tortured her, would have done the same to you. So, yes, by my code, they deserved exactly what they got. Then I can live with it. Not happily, not easily, but I can live with it. He pulled her closer, pressing his forehead to hers. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Both. Definitely both. She pulled back slightly. But Taemin, if we're going to do this, if we're going to be whatever we're becoming, I need honesty. Always. No hiding the violence, no pretending you're someone you're not. I need the full truth. Even if the truth is ugly? Especially then. She touched his face. I care about you. The healer and the killer. Both versions. But I can only care if I know who you really are. I'm a man who's killed hundreds, who built an empire on theft and violence, who has more blood on his hands than I can count. But I'm also a man who's trying to be better. To face trauma instead of hiding from it. To protect what I love without destroying myself in the process. His eyes searched hers. That's who I am. Monster and man. Can you love both? I don't know yet, but I'm willing to try. He kissed her then, desperate, grateful, full of need and relief. And Amara kissed back, crossing the final professional boundary, admitting what they'd both known for weeks. This wasn't employer and employee anymore. This was two people falling for each other despite impossible circumstances. When they broke apart, Taemin's smile was real for the first time in days. You know, this changes everything. I know. No more professional distance. No more pretending we're just business. We're going to have to tell people. My organization. The fashion world. It'll cause problems. Let it. I'm tired of pretending I don't feel what I feel. She stood, pulling him up. Come on. You've had a brutal day. Let me take care of you for once. How? Food. Rest. Maybe just sitting together without planning wars or facing trauma. Normal couple things. We're not a normal couple. Then abnormal couple things. I'm flexible. She led him inside. But Taemin, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't make me your reason for violence. Don't kill in my name or for my protection and then expect me to be okay with it. If we do this, I need agency. I need to be more than a damsel you're protecting. What do you want to be? Your partner, your equal, someone you consult with, not just protect. She turned to face him. I know your world is violent, but I won't be the excuse for that violence. I'll be your partner in navigating it differently. That's asking me to fundamentally change how I operate. I know, but if you want me, really want me, not just as protected possession, that's the price. Evolution, partnership, shared decisions. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, okay, partners, equals, I'll try. It won't be easy, and I'll mess up, but I'll try. That's all I ask. But their moment of peace was shattered the next morning when Yuki arrived unannounced. So the rumors are true, she said, seeing Amara at the breakfast table with Taemin. You're not just his model anymore. You're his girlfriend. How predictable. Yuki, you weren't invited, Taemin started. I'm your business partner. I don't need invitations. She threw a folder on the table. But I'm here with information. About your precious Amara. What information? About why she looks so much like Maya. About who she really is. Yuki's smile was vicious. Tell me, Amara, did you know you and Maya are related? Distant cousins, both descended from the same family in Georgia? Amara's blood froze. What? I had genealogists research it. The resemblance was too strong to be coincidence. Turns out you share a great-great-grandmother. Maya's family and your family are connected. Yuki looked triumphant. Which means what, exactly? That the universe is playing cruel jokes? That Taemin has a type? Or that someone deliberately sent you here, knowing about the connection? No one sent me. I was booked for Fashion Week by my agency. Your agency run by Victoria Chen, who has ties to the organization that killed Maya, who specifically requested you for Taemin's show. Yuki pulled out more documents. Victoria's been working with your rivals for months, Taemin, setting this up, using Amara as bait to destabilize you emotionally. That's insane, Amara said. Victoria's just my agent. Victoria's a plant, and you're the weapon, whether you knew it or not. Yuki's expression turned almost pitying. I'm sorry, Amara, but you were targeted from the beginning. Your resemblance to Maya wasn't accident. It was strategy. Taemin's face had gone white. Get out, Yuki. I'm trying to protect you. Out. After Yuki left, Amara and Taemin sat in stunned silence. Is it true? Amara finally asked. Am I related to Maya? I don't know, but it's possible. And if Victoria Chen deliberately booked you, knowing that, his hands clenched. It means this entire situation was manipulation, designed to break me by making me fall for someone connected to Maya. But I didn't know. I had no idea. I know. But that doesn't change the fact that we might have been manipulated into this, that what we feel might be manufactured. Do you believe that? That this is all manipulation? I don't know what to believe anymore. He stood, pacing. I need to investigate. Verify Yuki's information. Figure out if Victoria was working against me. And us. What about us? I need time to process this. To separate manipulation from reality. He couldn't look at her. Maybe you should go back to the hotel until I figure this out. The rejection hurt like a physical blow. You're sending me away? I'm giving us both space to think clearly. His voice was strained. If we were manipulated into this, if your resemblance to Maya, your connection to her family, your booking for my show, if all of that was orchestrated, then what we feel might not be real. Might just be trauma and manipulation playing out. Or it might be real despite the manipulation. Did you consider that? I'm considering everything. But right now, I can't think clearly with you here. Can't separate what I feel from what I'm supposed to feel. He finally met her eyes. Please, give me a few days. Let me investigate. Then we'll talk. Amara wanted to fight, wanted to demand he choose her over his paranoia. But she saw the fear in his eyes, the terror that he was being played again, manipulated again, losing control again. Okay, a few days. But Taemin, don't let fear destroy what we're building. Don't let Yuki or Victoria or anyone else control your choices. I'll try. But as Junho drove her back to her hotel, Amara couldn't shake the feeling that everything was falling apart. Just when she'd finally admitted her feelings, when they'd finally crossed into real relationship territory, it was all being ripped away by revelations and manipulation. Was she really related to Maya? Had Victoria really orchestrated this? Was everything between her and Taemin built on lies? Or was this just Yuki's jealous attempt to break them apart? Amara didn't know, but she knew one thing for certain. She was caught in a web of manipulation, revenge, and trauma that went back 15 years. And escaping it might be impossible. 3 days of silence from Taemin felt like 3 months. Amara stayed in her hotel, fielding calls from her actual agency, not Victoria Chen, dealing with the surreal reality that her entire situation might have been orchestrated. Sienna stayed with her, providing support and increasing suspicion. If Victoria Chen really was working against Taemin, your whole career could be compromised, Sienna said. Every booking, every connection. What if she was positioning you specifically for this? Then I was a pawn. But that doesn't change what I feel for him. Doesn't it? If your resemblance to Maya is genetic, if you were deliberately put in his path, how do you separate real attraction from manufactured situation? Amara didn't have an answer. On day 4, Marcus showed up at her hotel. We need to talk, he said. About Victoria Chen. About why you're really here. What do you know? Everything. I've been investigating since you took Taemin's contract. He pulled out a file. Victoria Chen works for the Choi Syndicate, the organization that absorbed the group responsible for Maya's death. They've been planning this for 2 years, finding a model who resembled Maya, booking her for Taemin's show, creating the perfect emotional bait. And I was that bait. You were the perfect candidate. Successful model, black, similar features to Maya. They didn't know about the genetic connection until after you were booked. That was a lucky accident that made their plan even better. So what was the plan? Get Taemin to fall for me, then kill me like Maya? Worse, get him to fall for you, then reveal the manipulation. Break him psychologically by proving he's repeating patterns, that he can't escape his trauma, that he's predictable and controllable. Marcus's expression was grim. They want him destroyed emotionally so they can take over his territory while he's vulnerable. That's psychotic. That's gang warfare. Psychological destruction is more effective than violence sometimes. Marcus leaned forward. But Amara, here's the thing. I don't think Taemin's falling for you is manufactured. Engineered situation? Yes. But real feelings? Also, yes. You're not just Maya 2.0 to him. You're you. The manipulation was the setup. What developed is real. How can you know that? Because I've been watching him for weeks. The way he looks at you is different from how he looked at Maya. With her, he was young and reckless. With you, he's terrified and careful. That's growth. That's real emotion, not manipulation. Then why hasn't he called? Why is he pushing me away? Because he's terrified of being manipulated again, of losing control, of falling into the exact trap they set. Marcus pulled out his phone. But there's something he doesn't know yet. Something I just discovered. Victoria Chen is planning her final move. Tomorrow, at the charity gala Taemin's hosting. What kind of move? Public revelation. She's going to expose the genetic connection between you and Maya in front of all of Seoul's elite. Make it look like Taemin's obsessively pursuing women who look like his dead girlfriend. Destroy his reputation and your career simultaneously. Why would she do that publicly? Maximum damage, maximum humiliation. Force Taemin to either deny you publicly, proving he's ashamed of the connection, or defend you and look obsessive and unstable. Marcus's eyes were serious. Either way, he loses. You lose. Victoria's syndicate wins. Unless we stop her. How? Taemin won't even talk to you right now, and the gala is tomorrow. Amara thought fast. Then, I go to the gala. Confront Victoria publicly before she can control the narrative. Tell the truth on my terms. That's dangerous. Victoria won't let you ruin her plan without retaliation. I don't care. I'm done being a pawn in someone else's game. Amara stood, determination replacing fear. I need to see Taemin, tonight, before the gala. Can you get me into his compound? His security won't let you through without his approval. Then we don't go through security. You said you've been investigating for weeks. You must know ways in. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. There's a service entrance, used by staff. If we time it right, we can get you in undetected. Then let's do it, tonight. Breaking into Taemin's compound was easier than expected. Marcus had detailed knowledge of security rotations, staff schedules, surveillance gaps. They slipped in during a shift change, and suddenly, Amara was inside the fortress she'd lived in just days ago. His private office is upstairs, Marcus whispered. But be careful. If security catches you, they'll treat you as a threat. Noted. Amara moved through the familiar halls, her heart pounding. She had no idea how Taemin would react to her breaking in. But she needed to see him, needed to tell him the truth before Victoria destroyed them both. She found him in his office, staring at files spread across his desk, genealogy reports, investigation documents, everything about her connection to Maya. Taemin. He spun, shock and something like relief flashing across his face. Amara? How did you... Security should have stopped you. I snuck in. We need to talk. Now. Before tomorrow's gala. I'm not going to the gala. I've canceled. Victoria Chen is planning to expose everything publicly. The connection between me and Maya, the manipulation, all of it. She wants to destroy you by making you look obsessive and unstable. Amara moved closer. But we can stop her if we control the narrative first. By doing what? Admitting we were manipulated? That just proves her point. By admitting we were set up but choosing each other anyway. By showing that manipulation can't control real feelings. She grabbed his hands. Taemin, yes. Victoria engineered the situation. Yes, I look like Maya, and we're distantly related. Yes, she booked me for your show knowing all of this. But what developed between us? That's real. That's our choice, not hers. How can you know that? How can either of us know our feelings aren't just trauma playing out? Because I've been thinking about nothing else for 3 days, and I keep coming back to the same truth. I don't care about Maya. I care about you. Not the man who loved her. The man who's here now. The one who goes to therapy and tries to be better and protects people he loves. That's who I fell for. You fell for me. His voice was barely a whisper. Yes. Completely, stupidly, despite every complication and danger and manipulation. She moved closer, and I think you fell for me too. Not because I look like Maya, but because I challenge you, see you as you are, make you want to be better. That's not manipulation. That's connection. Amara, if I let myself believe that, if I let myself love you, and it turns out to be another trap, then we face it together. But if you push me away out of fear, Victoria wins anyway. She destroys us by making you too afraid to choose happiness. Her eyes held his. Don't let fear win. Don't let her control your choices. Choose me. Choose us. Choose to believe that real connection can exist even in manufactured situations. He stared at her for a long moment, warring emotions visible on his face. Then he pulled her into his arms, kissing her with desperate intensity. I love you, he whispered against her lips, not because you look like Maya, not because of genetic coincidence, because you're brave and stubborn and refuse to let me hide from my feelings. I love you, Amara Davis. You specifically. I love you too. You specifically. The healer and the killer and everything in between. They held each other, and for the first time in days, Amara felt whole. But their moment was interrupted by Junho bursting in. Sir, we have a problem. Victoria Chen is here, at the gates, with reporters. She's threatening to release her story now if you don't let her in. She's moved up her timeline, Amara said. She must know I'm here. Because I told her. Marcus appeared in the doorway, his expression apologetic. I'm sorry, Amara. But this was the only way to force everyone's hand. You betrayed me. Shock and hurt crashed over her. I'm working for Victoria. Have been from the beginning. My job was to monitor you, report back, make sure you stayed vulnerable enough to be used as bait. He wouldn't meet her eyes. But I also grew to care about you as a friend. So I'm giving you a chance. Face Victoria now, with Taemin beside you, and control the narrative. Or let her control it tomorrow at the gala. You son of a bitch, Taemin's voice was lethal. You've been feeding information to our enemies this entire time. I've been doing my job, but I'm also giving you an out. Victoria's at your gates with reporters. Either let her in and confront her on your territory, or she releases the story her way, and you're always playing defense. Marcus backed toward the door. I'll leave now. Consider us even for the heads up. After Marcus left, Taemin turned to Amara. I can have security remove Victoria and the reporters. We don't have to do this now. Yes, we do. Because tomorrow, next week, next month, she'll keep using this against us. Better to face it now, together, on our terms. Amara squeezed his hand. Let her in. Let's end this. You're sure? I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of being manipulated. Let's take back control. Taemin nodded to Junho. Let them in. Living room. Record everything. And get our legal team on standby. 10 minutes later, Victoria Chen sat in Taemin's living room, reporters with cameras behind her, smiling like she'd already won. Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Jin. And Amara. How lovely you're here. Saves me a trip. Cut the pleasantries, Taemin said coldly. You've been working against me for months, manipulating situations, using Amara as bait. What do you want? I want you to know that you're predictable, that your trauma makes you controllable, that finding a model who resembled Maya and putting her in your path was almost too easy. Victoria's smile was sharp. You fell for it perfectly, hired her, protected her, fell in love with her. just like we knew you would. And the point of this manipulation? To prove you're weak, that emotional attachment is your fatal flaw, that the great Jin Taemin can be destroyed by simply targeting black women he cares about. She gestured to the reporters. So here's my offer. Acknowledge publicly that you were manipulated, step down from leadership of your organization, and will keep the more embarrassing details private, or refuse, and we release everything: the genetic connection, the orchestrated booking, your obsessive pattern with black women who look like Maya. Your reputation will be destroyed. Or, Amara spoke up, we tell the truth ourselves, right now, on our terms. Excuse me? You manipulated the situation, engineered my booking, used my resemblance to Maya as psychological warfare. That's all true. Amara moved to stand beside Taemin. But what you didn't account for is that real feelings developed anyway. That manipulation can create a situation, but can't create love. Taemin and I fell for each other despite your interference, not because of it. That's a lovely story, but nothing. You wanted to expose us? We're exposing ourselves. Yes, I look like Maya. Yes, we're distantly related. Genetic coincidence, not conspiracy. Yes, you deliberately booked me for Taemin's show, knowing all of this. And yes, despite all that manipulation, we fell in love. Amara looked directly at the cameras. You tried to weaponize resemblance and trauma. Instead, you brought together two people who might never have met otherwise. So thank you, Victoria Chen. Your manipulation gave us each other. Victoria's face contorted with rage. You think admitting this makes you look strong? You look pathetic. A Korean mafia boss, so obsessed with his dead black girlfriend that he'll fall for any woman who resembles her. I fell for Amara because she's extraordinary, because she challenges me, sees past my reputation, makes me want to be better. Taemin's voice was steel. Yes, she resembles Maya. But Maya was 19 years old, shy, still finding herself. Amara is 25, accomplished, confident, completely her own person. The only similarity is superficial. Everything else is uniquely her. The genetic connection is distant enough to be irrelevant. Shared ancestry from 5 generations ago doesn't make them the same person. It just means they come from the same geographic region, which was obvious anyway. He moved closer to Victoria. You failed. Your manipulation brought us together instead of destroying me. And now you've exposed yourself as working for rival syndicates. That makes you a target. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you. You came to my home, brought reporters, admitted to months of manipulation and conspiracy. That confession is recorded. My lawyers will have a field day. His smile was cold. You wanted to destroy my reputation. Instead, you've destroyed your own. Journalists love a story about manipulation and conspiracy. They'll eat this up. Victoria stood, fury radiating. This isn't over. It absolutely is. Security will escort you out. And Victoria? Taemin's expression turned lethal. If you come near Amara again, if you try any further manipulation, I won't use lawyers. I'll use the methods that made me feared in the first place. Are we clear? After security removed Victoria and the reporters, Amara and Taemin stood in the suddenly quiet living room. Did we just out ourselves to the press? Amara asked. We controlled the narrative. Big difference. He pulled her close. But yes, by tomorrow, all of Seoul will know about us. Your career could take a hit. or it could explode. Model dates Mafia. Boss, despite manipulation, is a hell of a headline. Controversy sells. She smiled slightly. Either way, I'm done hiding, done being afraid. If we're doing this, we're doing it publicly. You're incredible, brave, possibly insane. Definitely insane. I'm dating you, aren't I? He laughed, real, genuine laughter, and kissed her. I love you. Let's go to that gala tomorrow and show everyone we're not ashamed, not hiding, not letting anyone control us. Partners? She asked. Partners. Equals. Together. Together, she agreed. And for the first time since this complicated situation began, Amara felt like they might actually survive it. Not because the danger was gone, not because the manipulation had ended, but because they'd chosen each other despite everything. And that choice was more powerful than any trap. The press conference footage went viral overnight. By morning, every news outlet in Seoul and internationally was covering the story. Korean Mafia boss admits manipulation, chooses love anyway. Model and crime lord, a love story built on trauma. Jin Taemin breaks 15-year rule for American model. Amara's phone exploded with calls. Her real agency, not Victoria Chen, was thrilled. The publicity was massive. Brand deals were pouring in. She'd become internationally famous overnight. But the backlash was equally intense. You're glorifying a criminal, one comment read. He kills people, and you're making it romantic. She's just using him for money and fame, another said. This is all calculated. He's clearly obsessed with black women as fetish objects. This is disgusting. And worse, the racist comments about interracial relationships, about black women stealing Korean men, about her resemblance to Maya being proof Taemin had a type. Don't read the comments, Sienna advised. You'll go insane. But the worst blow came from an unexpected source, Taemin's grandmother. Grandmother Jin arrived at the compound the morning of the gala, demanding an audience. Bring the girl, she told Taemin in Korean. I want to see what kind of woman makes my grandson abandon all sense. Amara was nervous. Taemin had warned her that his grandmother was traditional, conservative, and had never approved of Maya. She might say hurtful things, he'd said. If it becomes too much, you can leave. I'll handle her. I can handle myself. But sitting across from Grandmother Jin in the formal sitting room, Amara felt the full weight of the old woman's judgment. You look like her, Grandmother Jin said in English, her accent thick but clear, like that girl who died. Maya. I'm told we're distantly related, but I'm not her. No, you're taller, older, more confident. The assessment was clinical. Are you using my grandson for money, status, fame? No, I care about him. Because he's powerful? Wealthy? Because he's trying to be better than his trauma. Because he's brave enough to face what terrifies him. Because he sees me as a person, not a possession. Amara met the old woman's gaze steadily. I don't need his money. I have my own career. I don't need his status. I have my own. I want him because of who he is, not what he has. Pretty words. Maya said similar things. And Maya loved him genuinely. From what I've learned, she was a good person who died horribly. Honoring her memory means acknowledging she truly cared about your grandson. Not dismissing her as gold digger or opportunist. Grandmother Jin was quiet for a long moment. I told him not to date her. Told him black women would bring shame to our family. That mixing races was wrong. That she was using him. Her voice cracked. When she died, I felt vindicated. Told him it was proof she brought bad luck. I was cruel and wrong. Amara's anger softened. You were grieving in your own way. I was racist. Let's not soften it. The old woman's eyes filled with tears. I drove my grandson to make that terrible rule, made him think loving black women was curse, when really the curse was the violence of his world and my bigotry. Maya's death wasn't about her race. It was about cruel men using innocent women as weapon. You've realized this? I've had 15 years to realize it. But I was too proud to admit I was wrong, too stubborn to tell Taemin his rule was my fault, not his protection. She reached across and took Amara's hand. You make him happy. I see it. Same way Maya did. That happiness isn't curse, it's blessing. And I will not be reason he loses it again. Are you giving us your blessing? I'm apologizing. To you, to Taemin, to Maya's memory. I was wrong. About interracial love, about black women, about thinking tradition matters more than happiness. Grandmother Jin squeezed Amara's hand. Don't let me or anyone make you feel unworthy. You are worthy of love, of respect, of place in this family. The acceptance brought tears to Amara's eyes. Thank you. Come to gala tonight with head high. Show everyone that Jin family chooses love over fear. And Amara, the old woman smiled slightly. Welcome to family. Complicated, violent, trying to be better family. After Grandmother Jin left, Taemin found Amara crying on the balcony. What did she say? If she hurt you, she apologized, gave us her blessing, took responsibility for your rule. Amara wiped her tears. Your grandmother is remarkable. She's stubborn and traditional, and finally evolving. He pulled Amara into his arms. But I'm glad she said what needed saying. Her approval matters more than I want to admit. Then we have it. Your family, my career, public support, from exposing Victoria. Everything's falling into place. She should have known that was tempting fate. The gala that evening was the event of the season. Seoul's elite packed the luxury hotel ballroom. Wealthy collectors, politicians, celebrities, all curious to see Jin Taemin and his controversial model girlfriend. The press was everywhere, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. Amara wore a stunning gown, emerald green that complemented her skin, designed specifically for this moment. Taemin was in a tailored black suit, looking every inch the powerful boss. Ready? He asked as they prepared to enter. As I'll ever be. They walked in together, and the room went silent. Then whispers, stares, the weight of hundreds of eyes judging them. Let them stare, Taemin whispered. We're not hiding. The evening was surreal. Congratulations mixed with barely concealed hostility, supporters and critics alike approaching them. Amara smiled, played the part, but exhaustion was creeping in. Then Yuki appeared, looking triumphant. Enjoying your moment in the spotlight? She asked. Better savor it. It won't last. What are you talking about? Taemin's voice was sharp. I'm talking about the fact that Victoria Chen wasn't working alone, that the Choi Syndicate has been planning something bigger than psychological warfare. Yuki's smile was cruel. They wanted you distracted by Amara, focused on protecting her, proving you're not your trauma. And while you've been playing boyfriend, they've been systematically taking over your territory, bribing your people, stealing your clients, undermining your operations. By tomorrow, you'll have lost 30% of your business. By next month, 50%. They're destroying you economically while you're busy being in love. Taemin's face went white. That's impossible. I have safeguards, which they've been bypassing for months. Victoria was the distraction. The real attack is happening in your business empire. Yuki pulled out documents. 3 of your warehouses have been raided. 2 of your major clients have switched to Choi operations. 4 of your lieutenants have been turned. Your empire is crumbling, and you didn't even notice because you were too busy protecting your girlfriend. Why are you telling me this? Amara demanded. Why help us? I'm not helping you. I'm helping Taemin see that his grandmother was right. Black women do bring bad luck, not because of race, but because they make him weak, distracted, vulnerable. Yuki turned to Taemin. You had 15 years of focused power. Then Amara walked in and you fell apart. Maya's death nearly destroyed you. Amara's presence is actually destroying you. The only difference is speed. Get out, Taemin said quietly. Make me. Oh, wait, you can't. Because I'm part owner of this operation, remember? We're business partners. Which means I get to watch you lose everything because you were stupid enough to fall in love again. Yuki's laugh was bitter. I loved you. For years. And you never looked at me the way you look at her. So forgive me if I'm enjoying watching you burn. After Yuki left, Taemin pulled out his phone, making rapid calls, confirming what she'd said. And with each call, his expression grew darker. It's true, he said finally. Everything she said. I've lost major territory while I was focused on protecting you. They played me perfectly, made me paranoid about physical threats while they attacked economically. Then we fight back. How? The damage is done. I've been hemorrhaging power for weeks and didn't notice because I was too busy being in love. His voice turned cold. Yuki's right. You're my weakness. Just like Maya was. The moment I care about someone, I lose focus, become vulnerable, destroy everything I've built. That's not true. It is true. Maya died because I loved her more than I loved staying sharp. Now my empire is crumbling because I love you more than I love maintaining control. He turned away. I can't do this. Can't choose you over survival. You're not choosing between us. I am. Because loving you makes me weak, makes me distracted, makes me the kind of man who loses 30% of his empire in 6 weeks because he's too busy playing boyfriend to notice he's being systematically destroyed. So what are you saying? That we're over? That you're choosing your empire over us? I'm saying I can't protect you and my business at the same time. And if I lose my business, I lose the power to protect you anyway. So yes, we're done. Professionally and personally, your contract is terminated. We'll compensate you fully, but you need to leave Seoul tonight. The words hit like physical blows. You're throwing me away because you had a few business setbacks? I'm making the strategic choice I should have made when you first walked into my show. The smart choice, the survival choice. His voice was dead. I'm sorry, Amara, but Yuki was right. Loving you is destroying me, and I can't let that continue. So you're going to be alone forever? Never risk connection again because it makes you vulnerable. If that's what survival requires, yes. He finally looked at her, and his eyes were empty. I'll have Junho take you to the hotel to pack. A car will bring you to the airport. You'll be compensated far beyond the contract terms. But you need to go. Now. Taemin, please. Now! The roar was desperate, broken. Please, just go. Before I change my mind. Before I choose you and lose everything and resent you for it. Please. Amara wanted to fight, wanted to force him to see that pushing her away was exactly what his enemies wanted. But she saw the terror in his eyes, the fear that loving her was killing him the same way loving Maya had. I love you, she said quietly. And when you realize that pushing me away won't save you, that it's exactly what they want, I hope you'll remember that. She left, dignity intact, heart shattered. Behind her, Jin Taemin stood in the ballroom, surrounded by people, completely alone, and realized too late that he'd just made the worst mistake of his life. Amara made it to the hotel before breaking down completely. Sienna held her while she sobbed. He's an idiot, a traumatized, self-destructive idiot. He's terrified. Yuki triggered every fear he has. That loving me makes him weak. That he's repeating Maya's pattern. That he'll lose everything. So he pushed you away before he could lose you. Classic trauma response. Sienna pulled back. But Amara, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. If he chooses his empire over you, that's his choice. Except it's not his choice. It's trauma making the choice. Fear making the choice. He told me himself. He loves me. That's real. The rest is just terror. So what are you going to do? Fly home? Give up? Amara wiped her tears, thinking. Then she grabbed her laptop. I'm going to do what I do best. Research. Find evidence. Prove that pushing me away won't save his business. And show him that Yuki's playing him just as much as Victoria was. She spent the night digging through everything she could access. Public records, news articles, industry reports. And slowly, a pattern emerged. The business losses Taemin had suffered weren't random or because he'd been distracted. They were specifically timed and targeted to happen after Victoria's manipulation was exposed. The Choi Syndicate had planned this perfectly. Use Amara to distract Taemin emotionally, then strike his business when he was focused on protecting her. Then reveal the business losses to make him think the relationship was the cause. But it wasn't. The business attacks had been planned months before Amara even arrived in Seoul. She was the excuse, not the reason. They want him to choose his empire over love, Amara realized. Want him to push me away, prove he's learned nothing, show he's still controlled by trauma. That makes him predictable, weak, exactly what they need to keep destroying him. So the solution is what? Sienna asked. To refuse to play their game. To show Taemin that choosing love doesn't make him weak. It makes him unpredictable. Dangerous in a way they can't control. You're going back to him. I'm going to fight for us, because I'm tired of trauma winning. Tired of letting fear make decisions. Tired of being separated because someone else wants us apart. Amara stood. Will you help me? What do you need? A way to get into Taemin's compound. Past security, past his barriers. One more chance to make him see what's really happening. Getting into the compound the second time was harder. Security had been increased. Junho wasn't helping this time. He was following Taemin's orders to keep Amara away. But Amara was resourceful, and she'd learned the compound's weaknesses during her time living there. She arrived at 3 a.m., climbing the back wall where surveillance had a blind spot, dropping into the gardens, moving through shadows like she'd seen Taemin's own men do. She found him in his office, surrounded by documents, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Amara? He stood, shock and something like relief flashing across his face. How did you're supposed to be on a flight to New York. I refused the flight, refused to leave Seoul, refused to let you destroy us because you're terrified. She threw her research on his desk. Look at it. Really look. The business losses you're experiencing, they were planned before I ever arrived. Timed to happen after Victoria's exposure. Designed to make you think I'm the cause when I'm actually the excuse. That doesn't change that I've lost territory. Because you were being attacked. Not because you were distracted by me, but because the Choi Syndicate planned a coordinated assault. Yuki revealing it at the gala wasn't coincidence. It was psychological warfare. Make you blame me, push me away, prove you're still controlled by trauma. So what? The result is the same. I lose business when I'm with you. You lose business when they attack you, with or without me. She moved closer. Taemin, you're being played. Again. They want you alone, afraid, making decisions based on trauma instead of strategy. Pushing me away is exactly what they want because it proves you learned nothing. That you're still the traumatized 19-year-old who couldn't save Maya. Maybe I am. No, you're a 34-year-old man who's built an empire, survived 15 years, and has the power to fight back. But only if you stop letting fear control you. She gripped his shoulders. I love you. That's not weakness. That's strength. Because love makes you fight harder, care more, refuse to let them win. Alone, you're predictable. Together, we're dangerous in ways they can't plan for. You're asking me to risk everything, Leo. I'm asking you to choose living over surviving. Choose fighting back over hiding. Choose us over fear. Her eyes held his. I know you're terrified. I know losing Maya broke you. I know every instinct says push me away to stay safe. But Taemin, safe and alone isn't living. It's just existing. He stared at her, warring emotions visible. Then, what if I choose you and still lose everything? What if loving you costs me my empire, my power, my ability to protect anyone? Then we rebuild, together. We create something new that isn't built on fear and isolation, but we do it together. You're asking me to fundamentally change who I've been for 15 years. I'm asking you to become who you're meant to be. Not the trauma survivor, not the isolated boss. The man who loves, fights, and refuses to let the past control his future. For a long moment, he was silent. Then he pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only solid thing in his world. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry I pushed you away. Sorry I let fear control me. Sorry I almost lost you because I was too terrified to hold on. You didn't lose me. I'm here. I came back. I'll always come back. I don't deserve you. You deserve happiness, love, a life beyond trauma, and I'm going to make sure you get it. She pulled back to look at him. But Taemin, we fight back. Against the Choi Syndicate, against Yuki's manipulation, against everyone who wants us apart. We fight together. How? They've taken so much already. Then we take it back. We expose their tactics, reveal their plan, turn their psychological warfare against them. We make them regret trying to use our love as weapon. That's dangerous. Everything about us is dangerous. That's never stopped us before. She smiled fiercely. What do you say? Partners? Equals? Fighting together instead of alone? He looked at her, this woman who'd climbed his walls literally and figuratively, who refused to let him hide, who loved him despite everything, and made his choice. Partners, equals, together. He kissed her desperately. I love you. I'm all in. Whatever it takes. Then let's plan. Let's show them what happens when you try to break Jin Taemin and his unstoppable girlfriend. They spent the next hours strategizing. Taemin called Junho, his legal team, his most loyal operatives, explained the full situation, Victoria's manipulation, the Choi syndicate's coordinated assault, Yuki's betrayal, laid out evidence that the business losses were planned attacks, not consequences of distraction. We're going on offense, Taemin announced. Target their operations simultaneously, expose their tactics publicly. Make it clear that trying to use psychological warfare on me was their fatal mistake. Sir, that's risky, Junho warned. Open warfare with Choi Syndicate is what they wanted anyway, but they expected me alone, traumatized, making emotional decisions. Instead, I have Amara. Clear-headed strategy, refusal to play their game. Taemin looked at his team. We're not hiding, not backing down, not letting them win by making me afraid. We fight smart, we fight together, and we show everyone that Jin Taemin is more dangerous in love than he ever was in isolation. The plan was complex, simultaneously exposing the Choi Syndicate's tactics to the press, launching legal action against their illegal operations, and striking their businesses with the same coordinated precision they'd used against Taemin. It'll take weeks to execute properly, Junho said, and during that time, we're vulnerable. So we protect what matters. Amara stays with me, full security. We present a united front publicly, and we make it clear targeting her means war with me, not distracted, traumatized war, strategic, ruthless war. Over the next 3 weeks, everything changed. The press conference where Taemin and Amara exposed the Choi Syndicate's psychological warfare tactics went viral. Mafia boss turns manipulation into strategy, was the headline. Public opinion shifted. Instead of seeing them as scandalous, people saw them as victims fighting back. The legal cases against Choi operations began bearing fruit. Arrests, seized assets, exposed corruption. Taemin's businesses started recovering as clients returned, seeing he was stable and strategic, not emotional and weak. And Yuki disappeared. Rumor said she'd been forced out by the Choi syndicate after her revelation at the gala had backfired, making Taemin more dangerous instead of weaker. She miscalculated, Taemin said. Thought revealing business losses would make me push Amara away. Instead, it made me realize I was being played and fight back harder. Do you forgive her? No, but I understand her. She loved me. I didn't love her back. She lashed out. I can't forgive the betrayal, but I understand the pain. He pulled Amara closer. I'm just grateful you didn't give up on me. Didn't let me push you away permanently. I love you. That means fighting for us even when you're trying to self-sabotage. I'll try to stop doing that. You better. I'm tired of climbing compound walls. He laughed, and the sound was free. Healing. Real. They'd survived manipulation, business warfare, trauma triggers, and Taemin's own fears. Now they just had to survive being together, which was its own challenge, but one they were finally ready to face. 6 months after the public exposure of the Choi syndicate's tactics, life had settled into a new rhythm. Taemin's empire had not only recovered, but expanded. His willingness to be publicly vulnerable and fight back strategically had earned him respect and loyalty. Clients admired his refusal to be controlled by trauma. Allies appreciated his evolution from isolated boss to collaborative partner. Amara's career had exploded internationally. The controversy had made her one of the most sought-after models in Asia and beyond. She'd graced covers, walked major runways, and become a spokesperson for several luxury brands. But more importantly, she'd maintained her integrity, choosing projects that aligned with her values, refusing to be defined solely by her relationship with Taemin. They'd moved into a new home together, not the fortress compound, but a modern penthouse in central Seoul. Still secure, but less prison-like. A home they'd designed together, but the past wasn't quite done with them. The final confrontation came on an ordinary Tuesday. Amara was at a photo shoot when Junho called, his voice tense. "Amara, you need to come to the house. Now, we have a situation." "What kind of situation?" "The kind involving Yuki, a gun, and a very bad decision. Taemin's handling it, but you should be here." Amara left immediately, her heart pounding. She found the penthouse surrounded by discreet security, and inside, Yuki, holding a gun, facing Taemin across the living room. "Yuki, put the gun down," Taemin was saying, his voice calm. "This isn't solving anything. It's solving my problem, which is that you're happy, that she made you happy, that I spent years loving you, and you never looked at me the way you look at her." Yuki's voice was unhinged. "I destroyed my reputation helping expose the Choi syndicate's plan. They've put a price on my head for betraying them. My family disowned me for the scandal. I've lost everything. And you? You're thriving. With her. Yuki, I'm sorry you're hurting, but pointing a gun at me won't fix. I'm not pointing it at you." Yuki turned the gun toward Amara, who'd just entered. "I'm pointing it at the reason my life fell apart." "Amara, get out," Taemin commanded. "No." Amara moved closer, despite every survival instinct screaming to run. "Yuki, I understand you're in pain, but I didn't take Taemin from you. He was never yours to take. He would have been, if you hadn't walked into that show, reminded him of Maya, made him break his rule. He would have eventually seen me, loved me, but you ruined everything." "No, you did," Amara said quietly. "By betraying him at the gala, by working against him instead of being honest about your feelings, by choosing manipulation over vulnerability. Easy for you to say. You got everything you wanted. I got shot at, kidnapped, had my entire relationship orchestrated by enemies, watched the man I love push me away out of fear, and had to fight for every moment of happiness we have. This wasn't handed to me. I earned it by refusing to give up." Amara's voice was steady. "You want to shoot me? Fine. But it won't make Taemin love you. It'll just prove you were never worthy of his love in the first place." "Amara, stop antagonizing the woman with the gun," Taemin said tightly. "I'm not antagonizing. I'm speaking truth." Amara looked directly at Yuki. "You loved him. I understand that. But love doesn't mean possession. It doesn't mean he owes you reciprocation. And it definitely doesn't mean destroying his happiness out of spite. You think you're so noble. I think I'm honest." I told Taemin I loved him even when it was complicated and dangerous. I fought for us even when he pushed me away. I refused to let trauma or manipulation control our choices. That's not nobility. That's courage. Something you lost when you chose betrayal over honesty. Yuki's hand shook, tears streaming down her face. I just wanted him to see me, really see me, the way he sees you. I know, and I'm sorry you're hurting. But Yuki, this isn't the answer. Killing me won't make him love you. It'll just make you a murderer and him destroyed again. Is that really what you want? To break him the way Maya's death broke him? Yuki's resolve was crumbling. I don't know what I want anymore. Everything's gone. I have nothing left. You have your life, your chance to start over, your ability to choose differently. Amara moved closer, carefully. Put the gun down. Get help. Real help. Therapy. Support. Whatever you need to heal. Don't throw away your life over unrequited love. Why are you being kind to me? I tried to destroy you. Because I understand pain. I understand loving someone who doesn't love you back. I understand making terrible choices when you're hurting. Amara extended her hand. Give me the gun. Let's end this without more tragedy. For a long moment, Yuki stared at her. Then, slowly, she lowered the gun and placed it in Amara's hand. I'm sorry, Yuki whispered. I'm so sorry. For everything. Security moved in, but Taemin stopped them. Let her go. She's not a threat anymore. She's just broken, like I was. After Yuki left, escorted by security to a psychiatric facility instead of prison, Amara finally let herself shake. Taemin pulled her into his arms. You're insane. You walked toward a gun. I knew she wouldn't shoot. She was hurting, not evil. There's a difference. You risked your life on that assumption. I risked my life on compassion, on believing that broken people deserve chances to heal, not just punishment. She looked up at him. Isn't that what you've been proving? That trauma doesn't define you? That people can change? Yes, but I'd prefer you prove those things without walking toward loaded weapons. I'll try. No promises, though. I'm apparently terrible at self-preservation. He laughed despite everything, and she felt the tension drain from both of them. Is it over? She asked. Finally over? All the manipulation, the revenge, the trauma playing out. I think so. Yuki was the last piece, the last person tied to all of it. With her getting help instead of spreading more damage, maybe we can finally move forward. Good. Because I'm exhausted from living in constant crisis. I'd like some boring, normal relationship time. We're never going to be boring and normal. Then interesting and stable. I'll take that. 3 months later, everything felt different. Taemin had officially transitioned out of illegal operations, keeping only legitimate businesses, cutting ties with criminal enterprises entirely. It had cost him some power, some connections, but gained him peace and legitimacy. I'm not the same person who needed to control everything through fear, he'd told his remaining organization. I'm building something different, something clean. Anyone who wants to be part of that, stay. Everyone else, no hard feelings. But this is goodbye. Most had stayed. Loyalty built over 15 years wasn't easily broken, and Taemin's evolution was respected more than it was questioned. Amara had taken on a new project, working with young models, particularly Black women, teaching them how to navigate the industry's complexities. She'd started a foundation funded partially by Taemin's now legitimate wealth. Maya would have loved this, Taemin said, watching Amara mentor a nervous 19-year-old. She wanted to make things better for people. You're doing that. We're doing it. Your funding, your connections, your willingness to support this. That's partnership. They'd also started couples therapy, working through the trauma, the manipulation, the complicated foundation of their relationship. Learning to be together in healthy ways, not just dramatic survival ways. How do you feel about him now? The therapist asked Amara during one session. Knowing everything about his past, his violence, his trauma. I love him, not despite those things, but including them. He's not just the violence or just the healing. He's both. Complex, contradictory, trying every day to be better. That's who I fell for. And you? The therapist asked Taemin. Can you separate Amara from Maya? See her as herself, not as replacement or reminder. Yes, Amara is, he searched for words. Amara is her own force. Yes, she resembles Maya physically. Yes, they're distantly related. But Maya was my first love. Young, innocent, hopeful. Amara is my mature love. Strong, challenging, choosing me with full knowledge of who I am. They're different, both important. But Amara is my present and future. Maya is my past that I honor, but don't live in anymore. That's significant growth, the therapist said. 6 months after Yuki's breakdown, Taemin took Amara to Maya's grave. I've avoided coming here, he admitted. Felt like betraying her by moving on. But my therapist says I need to say goodbye properly. With you here. They stood before the headstone. Maya Johnson, 2003-2019, beloved daughter and friend. Hi, Maya, Taemin said quietly. I brought someone to meet you. Well, you've sort of met. She's your distant cousin, Amara. He pulled Amara closer. I wanted you to know. I'm happy. Really happy. For the first time since you died. And I think you'd like her. She's strong, like you wanted me to be. Brave like you were. She challenges me to be better. Heal properly. Stop letting trauma control my life. Tears streamed down his face, and Amara held his hand, letting him grieve. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Sorry I was too young and weak to protect you properly. Sorry it took me 15 years to face what happened instead of hiding behind rules and isolation. His voice broke. But I'm healing now, building a life worth living. With someone who loves me despite everything. And I hope, wherever you are, you're at peace. You're not forgotten, never forgotten, but I'm finally ready to live beyond the grief. Amara laid flowers on the grave. Thank you, Maya, for loving him first, for showing him he was worth loving, for being part of the family tree that eventually led to me. Your life mattered, your love mattered, and we'll make sure your memory is honored. They stood there together, paying respects to the past while honoring the present. On the drive home, Taemin was quiet. Then, thank you for being there, for not being jealous of a ghost. Maya's not a ghost. She's part of your story, part of what made you who you are. I can honor that without feeling threatened. You're extraordinary. I'm in love with you. Makes me biased. She smiled. So what now? We've faced the trauma, healed the wounds, honored the past. What comes next? Normal life, maybe? You said we'd never be normal. Then interesting, stable life, building legitimate businesses, supporting your foundation, maybe traveling together when you have shoots in exotic locations. growing old without constant near-death experiences. That sounds perfect. She hesitated. Taemin, I have a question. Well, more of a future conversation starter. Okay? What do you think about marriage? Kids? The whole domestic package? He pulled over, turning to look at her seriously. Are you asking if I want those things? Or if I want those things with you? Both, I guess. With you? Absolutely. I want everything. Marriage, partnership, maybe kids if you want them. Building a life that's about more than survival. His eyes held hers. Is that something you want? With me? Despite everything? Despite everything. Because of everything. All of it. She leaned in, kissing him softly. Not right now. We still have healing to do, stability to build. But eventually, yes, I want forever with you. Then you'll have it, I promise. They drove home together, two people who'd survived manipulation, trauma, violence, and fear. Who'd chosen each other despite impossible circumstances. Who'd proven that love built on honest foundation, even complicated, messy foundation, could not only survive, but thrive. The road ahead wasn't perfect, wasn't easy, wasn't without challenges, but it was theirs, together, and that was enough. 2 years later, the fashion show was unlike anything Seoul had seen before. A collaborative event featuring established designers and emerging talent, with all proceeds going to Amara's foundation, supporting young Black models. Taemin sat front row, watching with pride as Amara opened the show. At 27, she was at the peak of her career, but she'd evolved beyond just modeling. She was mentor, advocate, businesswoman in her own right. After the show, she found him backstage, glowing with success. What did you think? I think you're changing the industry, making it better, more inclusive, giving opportunities to people who look like you and Maya. It's beautiful. We're changing it. Your funding, your support, your vision, your passion, your refusal to just succeed personally without bringing others along. He pulled out a small box. Speaking of bringing others along. Taemin, is that? It's a ring and a question. He opened the box, revealing a stunning engagement ring, emerald center stone surrounded by diamonds. Amara Davis, will you marry me? Build a legal, legitimate, boring, stable life with me? Put up with my therapy appointments and occasional trauma responses and tendency to be overprotective? She laughed through tears. Yes, absolutely yes, to all of it. He slid the ring on her finger, kissing her amid the backstage chaos. And for the first time in 15 years, Jin Taemin felt completely, unreservedly happy. The wedding 6 months later was a cultural fusion. Traditional Korean elements mixed with African American traditions, honoring both their heritages. Grandmother Jin attended, proudly welcoming Amara into the family officially. Amara's family flew in from New York, initially skeptical of the reformed Mafia boss, but won over by his obvious devotion. You take care of my daughter, Amara's father told Taemin during the reception. She's strong, but she deserves someone who sees that strength and cherishes it. I do, every day. She saved my life, literally and figuratively. I'll spend the rest of mine making sure she knows her worth. Sienna gave a toast that had everyone crying. Amara and Taemin's love story started with manipulation, involved kidnapping, featured business warfare, and was almost destroyed by trauma multiple times. By all logic, they shouldn't have made it, but they did. because they chose each other every single day, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. That's not just love, that's commitment, that's partnership. That's everything marriage should be. During their first dance, Amara whispered, "Think we'll make it? Long term? We've survived everything else. Marriage should be easy in comparison." Liar. Marriage is its own challenge. Then we'll face it like everything else. Together, honestly, with therapy on standby. He kissed her softly. "I love you, Mrs. Jin. I love you too, Mr. Jin, even though technically I'm keeping Davis for professional reasons." "Mrs. Jin Davis, I can live with that." 3 years into their marriage, Amara discovered she was pregnant. "I don't know how to do this," Taemin admitted when she told him. "Be a father. Raise a child in a world that's still partially dangerous. Then we learn together. We create safety. We give our child everything we learned about healing, resilience, choosing love over fear. What if I mess them up? Pass on my trauma?" Then we get them therapy early. But Taemin, you've spent years healing. You're not the traumatized 19-year-old anymore. You're a man who's faced his demons and won. That's who our child will know. Their daughter was born 9 months later. Beautiful, healthy, with Taemin's sharp features and Amara's warm brown skin. "What should we name her?" Taemin asked, holding his daughter for the first time with absolute wonder. "I was thinking Maya, to honor the past while celebrating the future." "You'd name our daughter after my first love?" "I'd name our daughter after a woman who loved you first, who showed you that you were worth loving, whose memory pushed you to be better." That's not threat, that's tribute. So Maya Jin Davis became part of their lives, named for the past, loved in the present, representing hope for the future. 5 years after Maya's birth, standing at her daughter's kindergarten graduation, Amara reflected on how much had changed. Taemin was fully legitimate now. No criminal ties, just successful businesses and philanthropy. His past was known, but not defined him. He'd become respected, not for fear, but for his evolution, his willingness to change, his commitment to being better. Amara had retired from full-time modeling, focusing instead on her foundation and raising Maya. She still took occasional high-profile jobs, but motherhood and mentorship had become her priorities. "Do you miss it?" Taemin asked, watching Maya play with her classmates. "The glamour, the runways, the constant spotlight?" "Sometimes. But this, watching our daughter grow up happy and secure, knowing we built something real, seeing the women we've helped succeed, this is better than any runway." "Even though your career was incredible?" "My career was amazing, but it was just my career. This is my life, our life. That's more fulfilling than any amount of fame." Little Maya ran over, throwing herself into Taemin's arms. "Appa, did you see? I got a certificate." "I saw. I'm so proud of you." He kissed her forehead, and Amara's heart melted watching them. This man who'd been so broken, so controlled by trauma, was now the most devoted father. Patient, present, teaching their daughter about resilience and kindness, and choosing love over fear. "Tell me about Auntie Maya," their daughter said, a frequent request. She knew she was named after someone important. "Auntie Maya was brave and kind," Taemin said. "She loved art and adventure, and she taught me that being open to love, even when it's scary, is always worth it. Like you and Amma? Exactly like Amma and me." He smiled at Amara over their daughter's head. Auntie Maya loved me first, which helped me learn how to love your mother later. So, in a way, you exist because of her courage. I wish I could have met her. Me too. But we honor her by living fully, loving bravely, and being kind to others. That's what she would have wanted. 10 years after that night when Amara walked into Taemin's fashion show, they stood on the balcony of their home, watching Seoul's lights. Do you ever regret it? Amara asked. Choosing me, breaking your rule, all the complications that came with it? Never. Not once. You gave me back my life, Amara. Real life, not just survival. You pushed me to heal, face my trauma, become someone worth loving. That's not complication. That's transformation. You did the same for me. Made me braver, more confident, willing to fight for what I want instead of accepting what's given. Then we transformed each other. That's partnership. That's love, she corrected. Real, complicated, hard-won love. He pulled her closer, and they stood together. Two people who defied every odd, survived every manipulation, proven that love built on honest foundation could not just survive, but thrive. Thank you, he whispered, for walking into my show, for refusing to let me hide, for loving me despite everything. Thank you for breaking your rule, for choosing healing over fear, for building this beautiful life with me. Behind them, through the window, they could see Maya sleeping peacefully in her room, named for the past, loved in the present, representing their future. Jin Taemin's rules had been clear. No black women, until Amara Davis walked in and changed everything. Broke every rule, healed every wound, proved that sometimes the most important thing you can do is choose love over fear, even when, especially when, that choice is complicated, dangerous, and absolutely terrifying. Because the best things in life aren't easy. They're earned through courage, honesty, and refusing to let trauma win. And Taemin and Amara had earned every moment of their happiness. Together. Always together. Exactly as they'd promised that first night when she refused to let him push her away. When she'd said, I came back. I'll always come back. And she had, again and again, until coming back wasn't necessary anymore. Because they'd finally built a home neither wanted to leave. The end. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed Taemin and Amara's journey from trauma-based rules to healing love, make sure you're subscribed. More emotional love stories are coming. Stories of breaking rules, healing trauma, and building love against impossible odds. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. See you in the next story. Would you have the courage to challenge someone's trauma-based rules? Could you love someone whose past included violence and grief? Have you ever fought for a relationship everyone said was doomed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.